think I'm awake. Are you awake? Double check. I had some wild dreams last night. I had lots of dreams last night. Do my best to record them for myself and for your entertainment. Okay. The first dream I woke up from was set at night in this cozy little bungalow. This moss-covered tiny little bungalow cabin tucked out into the damp forest of who knows where, somewhere very Oregon looking. It was damp, it was mossy, it was dark, very deep in the woods. And I was a young girl, and I lived with my family, who happened to be a bunch of magical men. And all of the men in my family were very tall, and most of them kind of look like Abraham Lincoln in some variation, including the this variation of Scrooge that was in my dream, who was also one of my relatives. And I was doing my homework most of the time in this dream. I was sitting down at this it was like an antique freaking computer. It was probably about this wide, about that deep. And when I was getting on the internet, it went click, 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 you know, the old dial-up sound that we used to have to deal with. I haven't heard that in a while. That was pretty funny. So I was sitting at the computer doing my homework, and this little bungalow, I remember, was so dark. I remember the glow of the computer screen being very harsh, and the perspective of the stream was kind of more like third-person view, like watching a TV screen instead of like me sitting there looking directly at the computer. I was coming from the side, kind of just watching the scene unfold. So the girl that was supposed to be me was sitting there typing, and there was some other Abraham Lincoln guy that was my fairy godmother, or godfather, I mean, something like that. And he was just milling about doing house stuff. And then I heard someone open and shut the door. I heard rain outside, and then I heard the rain muffled again after the door was shut. And I heard some stamping of feet and some, you know, like someone's wiping their feet off on the mat and taking their shoes off, hanging their coat up, that kind of thing. And I hear a little bit of talking, and then another very tall Abraham Lincoln man is in the living room, and he's got this really giant, probably like 5 foot tall trophy, and the trophy is really interesting looking. It's very, very elegant, except for the pillars on the sides, because they're made out of these really long, skinny spoons. And then he's not saying much, but he's very, like, he's holding the trophy, excuse me, in a way that's kind of like, did you see what I walked in with? And from the appearance of this man, it was very obvious that he's Scrooge, like Scrooge from the fairy tales. It's Scrooge. And so we kind of congratulate him, and it's not announced in the dream, but it was known that he had just returned from a Scrooge competition, and he won. He was the Scroogeest Scrooge of all the Scrooges, and he was very happy about it, or as happy as Scrooge could be, and we were all very proud of him for being the best Scrooge that he could be. And that was that entire dream. That was my first wake into dreaming, and it was then that I woke up at my 5 a.m. alarm. I also had a dream earlier than that, I think. I think I had another dream before my wake into dreaming method. Not sure when this dream happened, but anyway, I did have another dream, and this was a sex dream. Woohoo! And it was a really good sex dream. There's all kinds of things that can go wrong in sex dreams. I myself, if I'm having a sex dream, I can't look at any anatomy because it will do very strange things in the dream. Like it'll turn into a whole different species. Like no bueno, bad things. So I've learned in my sex dreams just to enjoy the moment and not to ask too many questions. So this was one of those dreams. The sensation in this dream was incredible. That's another very different thing in sex dreams, is sometimes I'm gonna get kind of gross and detailed here. Some of them are more surface stimulation rather than depth. I'm trying to keep it not so gross here. This particular dream sensation had the depth to it instead of just the surface level sensation, and that's very strange. I might go into detail onto that in another video, but I'm just gonna gloss over that for now. I didn't really feel like I had a complete full orgasm in that dream, because usually I wake up when I do, but I was just about there. I might have had a full orgasm, but it was, oh shit, it was pleasant either way. It was great. Okay, so I had another dream later on, closer to morning, that was just beautiful. One of the most beautiful dreams I've ever had. It was set out in some kind of desert landscape. It was, I mean, there was lots of features, so it wasn't just like flat desert. It was filled with like weird shaped rocks here and there, funky shaped cliffs and mini mountains, and then way, way in the distance, there were mountains. And there were, so you look off into the distance, and there was this big, like, Grand Canyon type of deal here. And then there was this long stretching railroad track that just disappeared off into the horizon. And on one side of the railroad track was all these beautiful trees. It was like, these trees were a cross between dogwood and cherry blossom. And it looked as if there was like 2 or 3 different kinds of flowers blossoming from this one type of tree. The bark of this tree was really cool too. It was like grayish brown and silver striped bark, and they kind of like twisted around, and they were just laden with heavy flowers. It was just beautiful. The flowers were white and pink and orange and gold. Most of them were white, but the way the glow of the dream was, all the colors of the desert and the sky and the sunset were reflected on the petals and just glowing. So on the track was this little hand pump railroad cart, like you see in old movies and cartoons and stuff. And the operator was this old carny, and he had like, there was no cabin, there was nothing except for the railroad track, the cart, a cyclone fence that went on one side of it that was mostly covered by shrubbery. And that was it. Like I think he had like this old crappy student chair like you see in grade schools, like from way back in the day. And that was it. He just had this little chair to sit on, but he didn't have like a little shade-giving shack. There was no vehicle around. It was like this guy was just some magical dream master hanging out, waiting to interact with people like me and dreamers. And so I get on the cart, and he says, have fun, take as much time as you want, come back whenever you want. Um, Eyes are very significant in my dreams. That's how I can tell if someone is an inorganic being or not, or if they're just a reflection of my subconscious, or if it's just a dream character that I've made up, or what their intentions are. Eyes are very important. Pupils and how they dilate are very important in my dreams. These are things that help me indicate where I am, what I'm doing, and my lucidity level. But this guy's eyes were, I couldn't figure him out. He wasn't an inorganic being, but there was some kind of intelligence behind his eyes. He had like this Mona Lisa smile inside his eyes. I really hope I can go back there again. I have some questions for him, and I think that he's got some good answers. So I went down the track, and you make the track go by pumping it like this. And it's kind of sticky at first, but then once you get the wheels going, it starts rolling. And I'm just slowly going along the track, looking at the beauty. It's like almost going through a hall of stained glass windows, the way the light is coming through these petals. And I'm just enjoying myself. I'm going a little faster, heading towards the mountains off in the distance. I'm wondering how long could this dream be? How far could I go on this track? Should I get up and fly? Should I stay in here? Am I going to see anyone? What's going to happen next? And so I'm going and I'm going and I'm going, and I'm just simply enjoying the scenery. It's so peaceful. And I've noticed that I've been in this dream for what I think is a while, and I've gone pretty far along the track. So far along that by now the beginning is so small that I can't see it. It just looks like it stretches on forever. And I think, oh, you know, I actually have plans in the city. It's a dream city in the same, like it's connected to this desert place that I'm in. I'm thinking, okay, it's going to take me a while to pump back to the platform and then get picked up and then drive all the way back to the city. So I better turn around now. And turning around, you're here, you turn around and then pump the other handle that's on the back of the cart. So I start pumping it, and by now the sun has dropped a little bit lower in the sky, so things are not quite as bright, but that magical golden light hour has set in, and so everything is now just maxed out with glow. And the petals, in dream logic, I know this, that the petals are somehow the same as crystals are in waking life. So the sun is shining through the petals, and instead of just making them glow, they're creating prisms everywhere. And I'm very inspired to make some dream-inspired art. I'm going to try to do that. I would love nothing more than to share the image that I have in my head with anyone and everyone I can. This place the beauty was so intense that just the beauty of this place was healing. So I'm continuing along the track, entranced by the beauty of it, by the color combinations I've never seen before. Like I said, I've never felt healed by just beauty before, but it was like lighting up. Do I even believe in chakras and energy and all that? I'm not really sure, but this dream made me believe that I do for a second. It's like made me feel all those things. And this is where it gets kind of silly. So I've said many times before, lucidity is a spectrum. So I knew I was some kind of lucid. I knew that I was in a place where I had some kind of control, but not so lucid that I didn't realize that this next thing that I was going to do is silly. I thought, oh wow, I really hope that I have my cell phone so I can take some pictures and show everybody my dream when I wake up. I'm so glad I remembered to be lucid and bring my cell phone to my dream. Lucidity is a spectrum. So I'd pat around, find my cell phone, double tap the quick launch button, and okay, in waking life, my phone is pretty frustrating. It takes a good like 5 or so seconds after you push record for it to start recording. And so the track is, I'm going along the track, and I'm trying to get this particular portion of the track because of the prisms, and I'm going through this little track that the blossoms have like this purple tinge to them, and right in the center of the track, the sun dropped down right in the middle of like the shroud, so it's centered with the track itself. So in my frame is this picturesque track in the middle, bright sunburst in the center, shrouded with this array of unrealistic colors of petals. Just this like award-winning photo, right? And I'm like, oh, it's not recording yet, so I gotta reverse to go back and like capture this on film. So because my phone wasn't waking up, so I reverse, and as I reverse, I notice this rustle in the bushes, and it kind of startles me. For the first time in this dream, I feel a little bit uneasy, like something could happen. So I look around, and I hear a. I'm like, oh, okay, doggo, and my eye captures glimpses of black fur and a little shiny black nose, and I see a pure black Pipple type of dog. And he's on the other side of the cyclone fence, but he's a little excited looking, and I'm a little bit nervous, and I think the dog can't decide if he's a good doggo or a bad doggo. I can't decide if the dog's a good dog or a bad dog either. I'm kind of like, oh yeah, I do have kind of control here, so I better boop the dog's nose to make sure to like kind of cause him to be a good doggo in this dream. And I do just that, and I was a little bit nervous because I'm like, well, hopefully he won't bite my hand off. And I reach through and I go, boop, you're a good doggo now. And he was. He just turned into a happy little doggo, wagged his tail around, and started kind of jogging along with me along the track on the other side of the fence, kind of hopping around like a happy doggo would. And then he just watched me go off into the distance back to the platform. Yeah, and then I returned to the platform, and this was fascinating. There was, with the carny, there was another person waiting there, and they had the same exact energy I did when I was about to get on the cart too. I feel like I could feel their same exact questions and thoughts and anticipations of going down this track. And the operator had, his Mona Lisa smile, like this little kind of wise, knowing, slightly amused smile. And I just had the strongest feeling that the other person that was about to get on the track was another dreamer. It was wild. That was a wild feeling. It was just wondrous. That. So then an SUV pulled up, and it was my lover, and he was coming to pick me up to take me to another part of this dream world. So we got on the road and traveled down the desert highway, which eventually turned into a city highway, and then a very high-tech bridge over water that connects the two worlds. There's a cliff and the bridge, and it goes over to the city. And by now, all of the colors of the sunset turned from oranges to maroons and pinks to purple, and just this duskiness, and the stars came out, and the city was causing this bright, that kind of purplish blue city glow against the skyline. And the pavement was wet, and you could smell the wet concrete. and he dropped me off somewhere because I wanted to just be alone. I wanted to explore by myself. And at one point, I think I went into a couple of shops to meet the shop owners. I went to a gothic performance club. There were strippers, there were performers, there were animal people. It was like the dark, seedy underworld part of town. And after I finished whatever business I was doing there, I left. And now the stream was cool, and I was lucid. Maybe not quite as much as I was in the desert, but I was lucid in a different way. I was lucid in that if anyone messed with me, I would have been able to fly away or whatnot, and I was aware of that, and so I was kind of cautious about what I was doing in the dream. But it wasn't the same lucidity in the fact that I was wondering about things like, oh, is that other person dreaming? Maybe I should ask them. I was thinking more like, I'm dreaming I'm lucid. Should I make a sword appear in my hand just in case like some dream mutant comes and tries to steal my mana? And I remember there's one particular really cool creature in this dream, and I don't know how to explain this person creature thing. It was like an aardvark human bicycle, all in one being, and it was really cool. And I kept seeing that person. But that's about it. In the city dream, I was just out on business. Just kind of doing, I felt like that's exactly what it was. I went out to the desert to do some spiritual stuff, and I had to go to the city to do chores, basically, to do business. Sometimes I feel like I do have a double life, and these dreams are real places and real things. I have a couple of reoccurring dreams that I've had before. There was one that I actually had over a span of a little longer than a week, and I actually met someone in a refugee camp, developed a friendship with them, developed a relationship with them, got out of the refugee camp, aged with this person, made a family with this person. And then later I actually went back to that dream, and the place where we lived was gone because of age, just like, traveling back in time to the pyramids and then traveling back forward, going back to present day and just seeing the ruins and wondering where everyone went. It was really strange. I'll have to make another video of that dream sometime. Wow, this is a really long video. It's almost 25 minutes long, but that's what happens when you have so many dreams at once. I did a lot of dream techniques, and I did end up taking a lot of supplements, like a lot of them, and even a cactus-based homeopathic supplement. I will tell you all about those in a dream technique video, or if you want to know and you can't wait for the video, just ask me in the comments and I'll tell you. Okay, dreamers.